quiet of night, I whispered my plea, holding her close, hoping for her decree.
Listen, there's a language spoken in line and loop, in groove and fold. This is Kbach, the quiet grammar carved, woven, and danced into Khmer life.
You're listening to Ancient Echoes. I'm Samnang Bradley. Today, we spend an hour tracing patterns, how a motif moves from stone to sampot to hand gesture, and what those patterns remember about being Khmer.
I'm Sovan Lida. We'll place Kbach in a quick historical frame, then walk 3 field portraits, a carver, a weaver, and an apsara teacher. Sources and permissions are in the show notes. Where motifs are sacred or restricted, we'll point that out. The layers matter.
First, what is Kbach? At its simplest, Kbach is a family of formal patterns, floral friezes, scrolls, geometric repeats, and stylized figures that act like a visual grammar across Khmer art. Some motifs travel between regions, others are local dialects. Kbach names, uses, and rules appear in carvings, textiles, architecture, and movement. We'll note sources in the show notes, including local artisans and restoration records.
Now, come with me to a restoration site near a quiet temple doorway. Stones lie like a patient sentence. The carver is working on a lintel that reads like a long, looping line of stories.
When I look at a lintel, I do not only see a flower. I see how the flower moves, how it meets the next leaf. The line tells me where a story begins and where it will end. We choose a motif because it fits the voice of the temple. Some doors want a soft rhythm. Some doors want a sharp step.
He taps his chisel, a bright metallic note, and then wipes stone dust on his hand. You can hear the rhythm. Chisel. Breathe. Step back. Look. He tells me that apprentices must learn to read the line, to trace the path of a motif with their eyes before the chisel meets stone.
My teacher would draw the motif many times. We copy until the hand remembers. When you carve, you are listening. Stone has its own voice. Sometimes you must change the line because the stone asks for mercy. That is part of Kbach, adjusting the grammar to the material.
As the day moves, I listen to him describe families of motifs, the lotus and naga scrolls, the serrated leaf, the wave-like crack, and how each carries meaning: protection, fertility, water, movement. Naming varies by village and by maker. This variety is part of the grammar, not a mistake.
Close your eyes. Hear the temple settle into the worksite. Now the loom enters the sound. We'll let those textures breathe for a moment.
We call this pattern by an old name that our grandmother used. When I put the border on a sampot, I decide where the motif begins, so it will meet the fold when someone wraps it. Motifs mark home, ceremony, sometimes the season. A teacher wears one set, a bride another. The pattern tells you, without words, where you belong.
She lifts the shuttle, and the clack is like a sentence ending. Watching her, I see how the same meandering line from the lintel becomes a repeating border, tightened or loosened, colored by indigo or vermilion. It's the same grammar spoken in a different voice.
Sometimes customers ask for patterns they have seen at Angkor. I explain what each motif can mean and when it is better to choose a simpler design. Some motifs were once used for royal garments. Now they are shared, but with care. We teach respect for those family patterns.
From the loom, we go to a rehearsal room, where fingers and wrists write lines into air. The apsara teacher sets a small temple carving on the floor and traces a hand shape above it.
See? This fingertip follows the same curve as the lotus petal carved on the lintel. The dance line is a drawing you make with your bones. When a dancer curves a hand, she is reading a line that other artists have carved and woven. We learn those lines with our wrists.
She demonstrates slowly, and I ask her to guide us on a pattern walk. Imagine a doorway. First the carved frieze above your head, then the sampot border at your feet, then the dancer's hands between them. Listen to these three elements and notice the shared curve, how a single motif breathes across materials.
1, 2, lift the hand like a petal. 1, 2, return like a leaf closing. The same rhythm, open, close, keeps appearing. When you practice, you begin to hear the pattern as music.
Before we close, 2 practical tips for visitors who want to look for Kbach respectfully. 1. Take a moment to observe before you photograph. Ask permission at workshops and from elders. Point your camera with respect and offer a small thank you for time and knowledge. 2. Visit local weaving centers and museum exhibits listed in our show notes to learn the proper names, sources, and permissions behind motifs rather than relying on souvenirs alone.
And one cultural note, patterns can be decorative or sacred. If a motif is used in a temple or on ceremonial clothing, treat it with the same care you would give a meaningful ritual object. The show notes explain which motifs to treat as restricted in certain contexts.
Kbach is a grammar that both holds memory and invites new sentences. When a carver, a weaver, or a dancer speaks that grammar, listen with your eyes and see with your ears.
This episode's sounds and voices were recorded with permission. Music and field recordings are credited in the show notes with performer releases and archival sources. Join us online for full transcripts, images of motifs we named, and links to respectful workshops and museums.
If you enjoyed this journey into pattern, subscribe to Ancient Echoes. Share the episode with someone who loves craft, history, or the quiet stories carved into everyday life. Quiet stones, loud stories.
Thank you to our guests, the master carver, the weaver, and the Apsara teacher, and to our listeners. Find full show notes, citations, and permissions at the website. Walk the temples with me. Listen, learn, belong.
Oh, shining diamond, flawless and red, you stand so quiet, soft in the air. I dared not to rush you, feared you'd flee. Your heart too pure to belong to me. If you turn away, I reach and bind, press my hand, still body and mind. Your brows I trace, your breath I steal. This mark I place is dark and real. From this moment break and fall, hear the spell, obey the call. False love born from sacred lies, second one whispers through closed eyes. Follow me, don't fight, don't run, your soul is caught, my work is done. Empty will, your light undone, under spell, under Sigmund. Crystal beauty, diamond bright, caught between shadow, charm, and night. truth won't last. This vow is carved, the line is cast. My words are smoke, my touch is fire. I bend your heart to dark desire.